Hi everybody, it's September 1st, and that means it's time for my August recap video where I go over all the stuff I did in August. And I gotta say, I got way more done than I was expecting to. The weather has been brutal. We've been in the middle of a heat wave for the entire month, and I was planning on taking it easy, but I did not, and I've got lots of stuff to share. But the skies are looking cloudy this morning. It's nice and cool, and it looks like the heat wave is finally over, and going into September, we're back to normal temperatures where you can actually exist in the afternoon and be outside and get stuff done. So I'm very excited for that because the heat was pretty awful, but it's something you just have to come to expect in Portugal, and you find ways to push through it. And that is my first point of the video, trying to survive the heat, basically by going to some swimming pools, hanging out in my splash pool, which has been amazing, going to some lakes. I took a few lake trips with friends, and eating large amounts of ice cream. So it's been okay this year. It was shorter than usual. I think a couple years ago the heat wave started in May and went all the way through to September, so I'll take it this year. It wasn't so bad. Before I get into the rest of the work that I did, I just want to say a big thanks to everybody out there who watches my channels, especially to you guys who comment. I really love hearing from people in the comments, so just chime in from time to time and say hello, or if you have any questions, I love answering them, and I always get back to everybody in the comments, so thanks everybody. Also, to everybody out there who watches my videos and likes my stuff, I really do appreciate it. If you really like my stuff, please do give it a like, subscribe, share it around, and if you really, really like my stuff, I've actually added a Patreon account recently. There's no perks or anything, but it's just for anyone out there who wants to maybe contribute monthly, who enjoys my content. There's also a PayPal account below. Super thanks. And I've also added an Amazon wish list. So for anybody out there who's really into what I'm doing, those are some options for you to contribute just a little bit extra. And I really, really do appreciate it. But in general, I love seeing the channel grow. I love interacting with everyone in the comments, and I'm just enjoying this whole adventure. So thanks to everybody out there who watches. So let's just dive right into my longer than expected list for the work that I did in August. And I actually started out by not doing work. I was pretty sure it would be too hot to do anything, so I decided to finally get to these question and answer videos that I've been talking about for a while. I divided them into 3 categories: building, personal, and land questions, and I just sat down and got them done, and that was really fun, and I enjoyed answering your questions. I especially enjoyed giving the talk about my land because I finally gave a little tour of my place, but I also included the surrounding land as well, which I don't think I've ever talked about, and so I hope that was interesting to people. And I finally shared a map that I've had on my computer since the very beginning, and I feel like sharing that and talking about that from a bird's eye view, a map view, was probably a great way to visualize my property. A lot of you said in the comments that it was nice to see how things connected, and yeah, so that was a thing I've been meaning to do for ages, and I'm really, really happy that I finally got it done, so I hope you enjoyed that. As a map maker, you think I would have more maps referenced in my channel, so maybe I'll start doing that a little bit more often. I would actually really love, sorry, I'm just blabbing on about maps now, I would really love to make a whole map of the valley, either something that's kind of practical for planning purposes, or something that's artistic that maybe you'd stick on a wall. It's something that would take a lot of time, but it's on my mind, and I would really enjoy getting something like that out. But enough about maps and chats. I did do quite a bit of work. I did some more pointing. I've had this bucket of lime sitting around in my way for ages, and I just decided to get it on the wall, so I worked on the front of the house on the left, and I also did some pointing down on the deck below. Pointing is a really easy way to make a big difference to how something looks, and I always feel very good after I do some pointing, not only because I actually love the process and the work, but it just makes things look so much better. So once I got the window in, I'm going to actually point the entire front of the house when the weather changes a little bit. It's very difficult to point in the super, super hot weather because it dries too quickly and cracks, but I think we're getting into the cooler temperatures, and hopefully very soon I have the whole front of the house done, and it's going to be a complete game changer for how it looks. I also broke and moved a huge rock that's been down on one of my bottom terraces for ages. I actually have loads of rocks laying around the place, and in order to move them, I really do need to break them up. But fortunately, I have this set of tools called a plug and feathers, or feather and wedge, And you basically drill holes, bash them into the stone, and it makes breaking medium-sized rocks very, very easy and really quite enjoyable as well. So I broke that rock because I was hoping to use it in the window. It turns out I'm not going to need it, but anything I can break up and bring up here is something I can possibly use in the tool shed foundation. So I'm definitely going to be doing more of that, and it just allows me to clear my land of random rocks kind of littering the place as well, tidies everything up, and it's a useful resource to have stones up here. And speaking of the tool shed, I finally decided on my design. I've been umming and ahhing about whether to do a pointy roof or not, which direction it should go, and I ended up deciding to just do a sort of shed roof, just for simplicity. I've never done a pointy roof before, and I really just want to get this project done, and adding an extra element of trickiness into the mix isn't something I really need. So I changed the roof, changed the design, and because I did that, I'm actually waiting for some pieces of wood to come because the shed is bigger than I originally planned for, so I've got a couple of long pieces of wood on the way. They've been ordered, and once I get those, I'll really be able to push on. I worked more on the foundation. I added some cornerstone bits, built up some of the wall, and yeah, just kind of working at it. That's some heavy work to be doing in the August heat, and I basically just did a little bit on some mornings, but in the afternoons I wasn't able to work on it, so I made some progress, not a lot, but I'm getting there, building up slowly. Prepped and cut some posts. I'm doing a timber frame, which means I've got lots of little tenons and mortises and notches and finicky cuts to make. It's really enjoyable, I love it, and I'm excited to have gotten started on that. And basically I'm focused right now on the post tops that will sit into the piece that goes on along the very top, which easier to show you than to talk about it here, but take note that I'm working on the posts and the woodwork has begun, and I'm really happy with the progress so far. And it's a small thing, but I added a pipe that's kind of been in the side of the wall. It's going to be the outlet for my washing machine, which will eventually live inside the tool shed. Just a note about the tool shed, it's not actually a workshop. I think a few people have said it's really small, you're not going to be able to work in there. That's never been my intention. I just want it to be a utility room. So I want a washing machine on one side, a chest freezer on the other, and then lots of storage space for my tools. If I can find a way to get my solar system in there in the future, maybe I will. But it's not meant to be a place I go inside to work. What it will be, though, is another structure that I can hang some shade cloth from and some possibly waterproof shade stuff as well. And then when it's raining or super sunny, I'll be able to work in that courtyard, and that will be my workspace. So the workspace will be more outside, and the tool shed will just be storage and washing and freezer capabilities. Anyway, so I put a pipe in for the washing machine, and I'm happy with that. So speaking of doing the woodwork for the posts, that requires some pretty sharp chisels, and my chisels have been misused, mistreated, ignored, neglected, and so some chisels were sharpened. And when I say chisels were sharpened, I don't mean by me. Chenade sat down and did a bit of sharpening work for me, and it made a huge difference. And that's something I definitely need to stay on top of, because when you have a sharp tool, working with that is a million times better, and working with dull tools is actually unsafe. So I need to be better about sharpening my chisels. The chisels are actually in pretty bad shape, so we probably need to get a grinder wheel thing and then do the sharpening after that, but that's something for another time. For the moment, they're good enough as they are to get the work done that I need to do. The YouTube logo, something that I think I designed a couple Christmases ago, actually, and I just was never really happy with it. There's something missing, and I do believe that there still is something missing. It definitely needs more color, but I finally just decided to stop aiming for perfection and just to get it out. And so I released my logo, and it seems like a lot of you guys out there like it, and it's really grown on me. I'm really happy with it, and I think it's fun, and I think it's representative of my place. There's loads of snails around this place. I go slow. The snail has a little tiny house on its back, and that's what I'm working on. And I wasn't sure about it at first, but I think it's a good fit, and a lot of people out there seem to like it as well. I just need to get more color involved in the logo. Made a first recut video. So because it's been so hot, I've basically thought I couldn't do very much work, and I've been doing a bunch of stuff on the computer, and that meant going back through a whole bunch of old footage of my water tank project and making a big recut video that was only working, no sound, I mean, no talking, no blabbing on like I am in this video. And it was really fun to put together. And it's something I'd like to do for future projects. It was pretty experimental. I've never done a video like that before. You kind of just settle into the style of video and just stick with it. At least that's what I do. And for me to do a video like that, it was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but it seems like it was well received, and I'd like to do some more of those in the future. So that was a nice little learning curve, something new, and yeah, I enjoyed the process, and more to come. Freed Friends Camper Van. August was the month of visitors. Sinead had a friend visit, and her family is actually here right now. And I had a couple friends visit with their children, but unfortunately on the way down they got their camper van stuck. So it was pretty hairy. The camper van sort of drove off a little bit of the road with the back wheel, and we had to try to get it back on the road and get it back down the path. And what was really cool about this experience, which was kind of scary, was that the neighbors came out. So some Portuguese guys came out from the top of the road where they live, and the neighbors where we fell off the road in front of their house, they came up as well. They have a tractor, and everybody banded together and we got the job done. So it's an example of a really sketchy situation that ended up turning out to be a really nice situation. Met some of the neighbors, made some new friends, and yeah, it was just really cool to see everybody come together. And I think that's something that happens a lot in Portugal. There's a really nice sense of community, at least in this part. And yeah, we saw it in person, and my friends had a nice visit, I hope, and were able to get off without incident. So it was an interesting experience, and it worked out okay. So I also have gone down a few times to visit Chenade. I'm not really filming the work she's doing because I'm busy up here doing my own work, but I'm going to be going down quite often and giving updates on what she's doing. She's got a lot of stuff she's working on down there, and she's made loads of progress. She's put up a yurt in just a few months, and she's got a lot of other stuff, a lot of other things going on down there too, including setting up a bathroom. So I gave you guys a little tour of what she's up to down there, and you can expect a lot more of what she's doing as well. And I'm looking forward to sharing what she's up to, because she's got some really interesting ideas. Speaking of Chenade's, I helped her put up a polytunnel down there. I've put up 2 of these things on my land already, both of them by myself, and I know that it's quite a struggle to do on your own, but really quite easy to do with a buddy. So I went down there, helped her get that up, and it's given her a great space for storage because the yurt is pretty small. And yeah, more storage to fill with loads of clutter is always a good thing. And Sinead again, her family arrived from Brittany. They basically went around a whole bunch of used stuff stores and bought a whole bunch of stuff online, used furniture, lots of great things that are difficult to find in Portugal, loaded up a van and drove for I think 3 days or 2 days to get here. And the van's huge, and after the camper van debacle, we weren't sure this thing would make it down the path, but we all chipped in together, we worked together, we trimmed some trees along the road, and we got the van down, unloaded, and now Sinead has a whole bunch of cool stuff to put towards her project, lots of storage things, lots of cool furniture that she wants to restore, and most importantly, her family's here. So they've been here for a week. I think they're leaving in a couple days, and it's been really, really wonderful having them here. And yeah, we've just had a really good time. And then back to the work, the window hole, which is the project I'm most excited about at the moment. I have been dreading this. I've been putting it off for a very long time, but now is the time to get it done. And I started by prepping the wooden lintel. I'm not exaggerating when I say I've had this piece of wood for about 2.5 years, and it's just been sitting under my bed, and I finally prepped it and got it into place above the window hole, the future window hole. And so the wooden lintel is what will be on the inside of the house. It'll just match the rest of the woodwork inside the house. I think it'll look cool. Sinead and I put that into place, and I just need to finally mortar it all in and just get it all secure. And for the outside of the building, I've always wanted to just have a stone lintel. I didn't want to use wood on the outside. It can get damaged by the sun. It doesn't fit in with the look that I want. And the thing that's been holding me up is the fact that finding a gigantic stone lintel for the outside is something I didn't really know where to look for. I'd heard that they were really expensive, and I kind of just let that stop my progress. But I finally went this week to a local builder guy and I found some stones I wasn't expecting to find, these really long ones, and I think they'll be perfect to make a full border around the window. It's a bit of an unusual look for these types of buildings, but I think it's going to look really cool. And so I've got the materials I need, and then I was able to finally start removing rocks in the wall in preparation for getting these stones in place. So the window project is a huge project. I've been intimidated by it for a long time, but I've got a plan and I think it's going to work. I did find myself dreaming about this window last night. I spent the whole dream just chipping away at these stones, trying to make them fit. And I would really prefer not to be dreaming about window stones. So hopefully I can get this done, get the project behind me, and then move on to something else in the coming weeks. So that was my August recap. It was a really hot month, as I said. I didn't think I'd get much done, but in the end, I actually did. So it was really surprising. We had a nice combination of fun times with Chenade's family and all of our visitors, and time spent at the lake and the pool, along with lots of work as well, and plenty of siestas in the hottest time of the day. So it was a very enjoyable and productive month in the end. Having the splash pool down there saved me, and just sticking your feet in that when it's really hot is just wonderful. So without that, I don't know how I'd feel, but the splash pool is amazing, and I was able to survive the month, and I'm looking forward to a cooler September with lots of progress. So September goals, first up is the window. I want to get this thing done, actually window hole. I'm going to prepare for the window, and then I'm going to order a window. So I don't know how long a window is actually going to take. Hopefully not too long. I really don't want to have to get that blue tarp up on the wall again. But as soon as I know the exact size, as soon as I make the window box, I'll place the order for the window. It comes from a guy just up the road, and I can go in and check on it and hopefully speed the process along. Hopefully he's not too busy. And then the window will be done, and I think it's going to really transform my space, and I'm super excited to have it in there, especially for the winter when everything gets a little bit more dark and depressing, and it'll be nice to have the natural light coming in. I also will need to make shutters at some point, but for the moment I think I'll stick with the window. Tool shed, I'm just going to keep plugging away at the tool shed. I'm going to work on the foundation at the same time as I work on the wood stuff, just to mix up the jobs. I like a little bit of variety. I never really like to work on one thing all the way through to the end. I like to jump around, as many of you know, and so the woodwork and the foundation will sort of go up at the same time. And then writing. I don't just do YouTube, I also do some online writing, and I have some work through from a friend of mine. He actually owns an East African tour company, so if you've ever been curious about going to East Africa, you can check his website out up here and take a look at what they offer. But basically I'll be writing blog posts about travel in East Africa, mainly Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, where they focus. So I've got a bunch of that to do. It's going to take me away from work on the land, but it's nice to have a little side gig that I can count on the cash from, and it helps just keep things going, helps me buy materials, and I actually really do enjoy writing work, and so it should be pretty fun. And then I've got a trip to Scotland planned this month as well. My parents are coming over from Canada, and we're going to go up to my aunt's house, and I'll just visit all the Scottish family, and my parents will be there as well. So I'm looking very forward to that. It's nice to have little breaks away from the land, and Scotland is a place that I love to go to, and I obviously love seeing my parents and the rest of my family as well. So that'll be fun, and I'm looking really forward to that. So September looks like it's going to shape up to be a really good month. So that's all from me. This has probably been a fairly long update. As I said, I wasn't expecting to get so much work done, and I do tend to waffle on a little bit when I get on these updates. So I'll end the video there. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you have any questions or just want to say hello, please leave a comment. If you like the video, give it a like, share it around. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.